So I thought I would try to do a little bit of a demonstration about how I dock tally-ho, both coming into the slip and leaving the slip if I need some help because of a strong crosswind or something. So this is my basic tie-up situation. I've got two bow lines, one on either side. Keeps tally-ho off the dock. I have two spring lines, one running forward, one running aft, so that just keeps the boat from moving forward or back too far. I don't want the boat to go up any closer to the dock. I certainly don't want it blowing too far back in the slip. So I've got that spring line on a midship cleat. And then I've got a stern tie here, just to keep the bow from blowing off, off in that direction. I only use one fender, and it's kind of strategically placed right there. If the wind is blowing the boat up against the finger pier, that is in just about the right spot to keep the boat off of the pier. If I had a cleat a little bit further forward, I might put it a little bit farther forward, but that seems to work just fine. The key, though, to my docking and getting in and out of the slip really is this loop right here. It's mounted on a shepherd's hook, which is mounted to the end of my finger pier. I've gone through a couple of iterations with this thing. It was made out of wood at one point, looked like a big gallows hanging out here, but the shepherd's hook certainly is more sturdy. The shepherd's hook is sized or mounted high enough so that when I come out of my slip, even if my bow and my push pit at the front were to swing this way, it will not hit my shepherd's hook. It'll come close, it'll move the hook or the loop, but it will not knock this off the dock. Although in a prior version it did get knocked off the dock. It's also placed further enough towards the middle of the finger pier so that when if the bow comes this way, it won't hit it here either. So it won't hit this. It's tall enough, and it's moved, away from my side of the finger pier enough that it will not make contact with my bow pulpit. So that's pretty important. To use it is pretty simple, and I use it for two things. I use it for leaving the slip if there's enough wind to require it. Sometimes it's because it's a cross breeze. Now on a south wind day, so my boat or my slip has me situated pointing west, due west. If I have a north wind from this direction, it's going to push me off the finger pier pretty easily. Right now I don't have a slip mate, but usually there's a boat there, just in earlier than most. So on a strong north wind day, my loop over the winch comes in very, very handy. It can hold my boat right where she's at, so I can undo all of the different lines and the boat will stay put. And then when I'm ready to back out, I get ready. I know which way I'm gonna back out of my slip. I put her into gear, give her some juice, and as I'm backing out, I will unhook the loop off the winch, and as I pass by that shepherd's hook, I just lean over and hang it back up so it's there when I come back. If I have a strong south wind, I really don't need the loop, right? Because I'm kind of pinned up against the finger pier anyway, so I don't need that. Today we have a strong easterly wind, so that has a tendency to push me forward into the slip, right? All the way till my bow's resting on the dock. Now that's not an ideal situation for me, so I would use my loop to keep me right in place while I get all the dock lines off. And if I have a strong westerly wind, it's pushing me out of the slip. Well, I really don't need probably the the loop, but it could, if it's strong enough, it could push my bow one way or the other. It could push me backwards before I'm ready. And so even on a westerly wind, if it's strong, I will use my loop, start the engine, put her in forward gear, and it just holds the boat perfectly still while I get everything ready to push away from the dock. I should point out that the loop, you know, it's got a couple of things, right? So one, I have this old hose around the end of it, and that's just to make it a little stiffer, and I can easily hold on to it. I can, you know, put it over the winch in a rush. It also makes it a lot easier to put it back on the shepherd's hook when I'm leaving or when I'm coming in and I need to grab it. So that piece of hose around there helps tremendously. And secondly, it's got to be the appropriate length so that I can put the boat in gear, strain the engine against it, and not push any further forward than I am right now. I don't want the boat to be able to push forward. So that line has to be, you know, the right length. So I've played around with it a little bit since I put her in the water here 2 weeks ago to get it just the right length so I feel comfortable with it. And that's how it's set up. All right, so I've got the engine in gear, just at idle really is all I need right now, and the boat is pulling forward against my loop. It allows me to walk the deck without the boat going anywhere. I can come up and throw off my bow lines. Easy enough. Drop off a spring line. And even cast off my stern line. You'll notice the boat's not moving anywhere. If this was in a stiff cross breeze, I may need to give it a little more throttle. But as long as I keep the boat in gear, balance the throttle and the rudder with the wind conditions, I can hold her right here. All right, so I'm ready to back out of the slip now. And to make this really easy, I'm going to show you essentially how I would do that. So the first thing I do is I put the boat in reverse and give her a little more throttle. As soon as I do that, the line comes loose off my hooker on my hook. Back out of the slip very cleanly. You can see if my bow swings around up there, it's not going to hit anything. And most importantly, as I pulled away, there's no drama. The boat stayed put right on the finger up here as I pulled out of there, and even in a cross breeze or a wind blowing me into the slip, it's not an issue. So then I'll show you the procedure when I come back. So I'm bringing the boat back into the slip now. We still have a wind out of the east, so out of the west, so it's going to push us into the slip pretty quickly, and the other nice thing about having that loop is it keeps me from crashing. I am doing this with one hand, which is a bit of a challenge. I hope I don't screw it up. One hand for the wheel and the throttle and the transmission. I'll give her the old college try. I have another camera on the winch. You can tell the boat wants to walk sideways because of the strong wind coming from the side. I've shifted into neutral because I know we're going to come in pretty fast. I'm swinging the boat around. Hopefully we'll get in here, and I might have to put the camera down just for a minute. I hope not, but maybe. Alright, I cut that a little wide, but I think we're okay. I'm going to put her in reverse, get ready to slow the boat down a little bit. Just a little. Back into neutral. Now I'm still moving, but I can leave the helm long enough to walk up here and grab my hook, put her around my winch, and I can even kind of slow the boat down by hand if I need to. Now I came in there pretty hot, but it just shows you how it works. So now I've shifted back into forward gear at idle, and the boat will stay right where she's at. She doesn't move. I can tie all the bow lines on and put everything away, and then take the loop off, and that's how I make it work. The boat's all tied up, my spring lines are on, everything's set, and now I'm ready just to put my loop away till the next time I head out. And that's the beauty of the shepherd's hook and loop line.